Hey folks, Nick here from Another BookTube channel, and today I'll be reviewing Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. Now, I have heard of Chuck Tingle before because of his hilariously titled niche gay erotica ebooks that are deliberately absurd. I've never actually read any of them, but the titles sometimes go viral. Some of my favorites of those titles are Space Raptor Butt Invasion, Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt, Slammed in the Butt by my Hugo Award nomination, which he was actually nominated for a Hugo Award, Pounded by the Pound, Turned Gay by the Socioeconomic Implications of Britain leaving the European Union, Not Pounded by Anything While I Practice Responsible Social Distancing, Donald Trump Pounded in the Butt by his fabricated wiretapping scandal made up to redirect focus away from his seemingly endless unethical connections to Russia. And of course, Slammed by my handsome fidget spinner. But this time around, Tingle is playing things straight. Or, well, not exactly straight, but this is definitely a real book and not just something created to be a meme. So can this mysterious, anonymous author of gay dinosaur erotica actually write a great horror novel? Let's get into it. Camp Damascus follows Rose Darling, a neurodivergent 20-year-old girl that's just finished up high school. Why is she graduating so late? Well, it's not due to lack of intelligence. Rose is incredibly smart and has a knack for memorization, but because all children born into the fundamentalist Christian organization, the Kingdom of the Pine, take 2 years off from school to learn the tenets of their faith. Rose has done her best to follow the tenets of her sect and make her parents proud. But lately, she's been noticing some oddities that are concerning her. Rose has a curious mind, and she finds that when she starts getting curious about the wrong things, weird stuff starts to happen. Weird stuff like seeing demons and coughing up flies. At the center of the conspiracy is Camp Damascus, a conversion therapy camp that boasts a 100% success rate and is responsible for generating massive revenue for Kingdom of the Pine. As Rose plunges further into the mystery, we join her on a journey of self-discovery that is equal parts frightening and heartwarming. I really liked this book. I think it works on several levels. At the forefront, I think it's a solid premise for a horror story. Having a main character whose entire life has been spent just blindly following the tenets of a cult, peeling back the curtain and discovering how she's been manipulated is something that is already just disturbing on its own. Because we know that that happens all the time. We know how scary fundamentalism is, where these violently Caucasian people wear enormous fake smiles with shining white teeth, and they take photos with their 14 children who are all dressed the same, and they talk about love, but they do nothing but try to actually just punish those who don't agree with them. It's a real-life horror story, and it's expanded upon by Tingle to include supernatural elements that really hammer home the metaphor. I do think that at around the halfway point, maybe a little bit further, Tingle pulls attention away from the horror and writes Camp Damascus as more of a coming-of-age love story. At this point, the main focus becomes Rose coming to terms with the fact that her blind faith has been misguided, and so she swings her faith pendulum completely into the opposite direction, but that also doesn't feel quite right to her. And that's another huge compliment that I want to give this book, which is that it's not anti-religion or anti-faith, it's anti-fundamentalism. It's anti-blind faith. I myself am not a religious person, but I do enjoy a good story that shows off what can be accomplished when faith is used properly. The power of faith in moderation. The power of being a whole person who uses faith to help with some mysteries of life, but doesn't use it as a guidebook for every little thing. It would have been a very easy avenue for Tingle to have this book paint religion as the enemy. But as he writes, faith is just a vessel, And while it can certainly be used to justify truly horrible things, maybe I'm letting the aggressors off the hook by blaming faith itself. Camp Damascus, I think, has the potential to be a cult classic for the LGBTQ plus community because of how personal it feels to that crowd. I was immediately reminded of the 1999 movie But I'm a Cheerleader, which was a more campy comedic approach to a similar plot. I would actually really love to read or watch some reviews of this book by a queer creator. So if you have any recommendations or if you yourself have made one, just let me know in the comments because I would love to have your perspective on it. Camp Damascus, in my opinion, is a surprisingly thoughtful, even-handed book that doesn't go the obvious route and is confidently paced to make it a fun read. It's also one of those books that makes reviewers go to that old cliche line of, it really makes you wonder who the real monsters are, doesn't it? My arbitrary and subjective grade for Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle is 8 out of 10. Do with that what you will. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Thank you for spending some time with me today, but now it's time to get back to reading.